guys, what's going on? I'm Vile Self, and as you guys probably already know, Sony finally revealed their prototype for the virtual reality headset that's going to be released for the PlayStation 4 sometime in the future, hopefully near future and not distant future, but that remains to be seen. But basically, I took some point notes down from the seminar that took place last night. So I'm just going to give you guys a bunch of information, basically as much information as I got from it. And if you guys aren't aware of what this device is or what it's capable of or some of the features it has, then stay tuned and watch this video and you'll be a little more educated. There are still a lot of things we don't know yet, still a lot of questions people have, but these things will unfold as time progresses and as the prototype becomes closer to full retail value for consumers. So basically, like I said, I just took a bunch of points down, so I'm just basically going to go through them. They said that the VR is awesome for games, but it will go beyond games, implying that being able to watch movies and stuff like that and interact in different forms of media are also possible. Um, they are working on a project with NASA using this VR technology called the Mars Demo, where it feels like you're actually on Mars. They have 6 principles of virtual reality. They have sight, sound, tracking, control, ease of use, and content. And Sony aims to nail all 6 of these areas. In my opinion, I would say they're probably pretty close to nailing these things, seeing as this project has been in development for the last, 4 years or so. And now they're finally bringing it to the public eye and talking about it. That kind of tells me that they're really close to reaching their goals. They mentioned that the PS4's power is essential to render the world's scene in virtual reality. It's not going to be available on PCs or other hardware or on any mobile devices or anything like that. It's this device is being made specifically to work with the PS4. Um, the headset's being made, it's being developed with the technology of the PlayStation Move and the PlayStation Camera, and it will work in tandem with both of those devices. He also talks about how easy the device will be for people to use, simple plug and play type of deal. Um, they listed off about 12 developers who are already on board with the project, some of which have already started projects, which they are demoing at the Game Developers Convention right now this week. So if you're there, if anybody's there, they're allowed to go and actually view these demos and try them out. They talked about Thief, the game Thief. They have a demo of that in virtual reality, and they also have some underwater game where you got to escape from underwater creatures or something like that. Um, they talk about how the players will be in the game, not just observing it, so it gives you a real immersive type of feeling, separate than the type of feeling or the type of sensation you get from watching like a 3D movie. You get more of a real sense of being there. They aim to keep latency low, keep frame rates high, calibrate well, and render crisp, clean images with 3D audio, which the 3D audio they mentioned is not just from the front and back like traditional sound surround sound, but it actually has audio that comes from above and below you as well. An example they gave was you might be in a situation like a war game and a helicopter might fly over your head. Well, on a traditional surround sound, you would kind of hear the helicopter in front of you and then you'd hear it behind you. But with this VR headset, you would actually hear the helicopter above your head, which I thought was pretty cool. They mentioned virtual tourism and other forms of interactive media, but they said that gaming is going to be the best and most enjoyable and most immersive experience with this virtual reality headset. They said that developers will be able to give players certain feelings that games have only kind of mimicked before, such as vertigo, claustrophobia, fear of the dark, fear of void spaces, extreme horror, and all those sorts of things that the devs have basically shown us to some degree in these games before, but with the virtual reality headset, these features will be amplified and feel, much more real. Um, the virtual reality headset can be used in multiplayer as well, and apparently, seeing another avatar is truly amazing. Like if you're say walk around in some first person game like Call of Duty, for example, um, and you see somebody else that's wearing the VR headset too, and you guys can actually look at each other and interact with each other, and that's just a pretty cool thing. Um, the image can also be mirrored on your TV screen, so others that are in the same room as you can see what you see. They also said you can wear your eyeglasses with the VR headset. You just wear them right underneath it. It doesn't hinder that at all. The current prototype model, which is, you know, app, tentatively named Project Morpheus right now. That's not going to be the final name, but it currently runs in 1080p and has a 90-degree viewing angle. Both of these specs are not finalized specs. The 1080p thing is basically because the demos they have right now are really small files, and the device doesn't have to render any big files or anything like that. So they can't confirm whether or not the final device will be full 1080p or not. Obviously, we hope it will be, but there's a chance it might not be. They also said that wireless headsets, as well as wired headsets, will work with the display as well. They say it's not a solitary experience. Others can see what you see on the TV, and the experience can be a social one and not just a solitary one. Um, let's see. The device is wired for now, but they're looking to other solutions, and they won't give details on a release date, but they did say they want it to be ready as soon as possible, which basically means they're hard at work, and basically they're giving this prototype, which is essentially a dev kit, to all the developers and telling them, make some games for this. We want to release it. We want people to have stuff to play on it, so get busy with it. They won't give any specifics on their aim for specs, so whether they're aiming for full 1080p or they're aiming for whatever full 60 frames per second or 180-degree viewing angle, we don't know. They won't give details like that. I think I already mentioned it won't be compatible with PC or other hardware, just the PS4. They're also researching the technology of eye tracking inside the device, which essentially means that you won't even have to move your head to look around. You can just simply shift your eyes from side to side or up and down, and the image on the screen will, you know, calibrate and do what your eyes are doing. Um, they were asked if the graphics are less intensive um, in the virtual reality world than they would be on, say, your TV. And Sony says it's just different because you're immersed, which I found to be a pretty interesting answer. It's almost like they kind of sidestepped it. They didn't want to say, yes, it's less intensive, like as if, in other words, the graphics are not as good as a TV. But they said since you're inside the game pretty much, the feeling of being there is much more real than any, full 1080p image you can see on the TV. Um, they mentioned that the VR might be used for training systems, simulations, maybe used in schools somehow, and other types of applications as well. Um, they talked about how 3D imaging is different than the virtual reality experience, but some of those tools will overlap each other, meaning that you might be able to get, you'll likely be able to get 3D imagery within the VR headset. They have no recommended age groups for the use of this thing yet, but they say some young people have tried it and have been very excited over it. I don't know how young, they didn't specify. Um, and lastly, Sony London is currently the only Sony-owned first-party studio who's working on a VR project, which is the underwater game I mentioned earlier, and that's being demoed at GDC this week. So that's about it, guys. That's about all we know about the Project Morpheus virtual reality headset coming to the PlayStation 4. I'm hoping it's going to be out later this year, maybe holiday season. There's no word on the price, but they did say they're aiming for low price and they're aiming for high quality. And we know Sony, they like to give customers good products. They like to give us, a good value. So hopefully we'll see this product before the end of the year, and hopefully it will live up to all the hype and suit everybody's wants and needs. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you guys learned something out of this, and thank you guys for watching. I'm just going to cut it off here. Well, self, out.